Alright, so union in prerequisite section 2, okay, in trig. Union excludes numbers not included, not intersected, on the outside, not in between. The union kind of looks like a U shape, just like that. Um, so the absolute value of x is greater than 3 is like saying that x is everything that'll work. Alright, like think of numbers that will work in this. If I plugged in a 5, 5 is greater than 3, that works. If I plugged in a negative 5 works because what's the absolute value of negative 5? Positive 5, and 5 is greater than 3. So the point we're getting at is there are some numbers here that don't work. If you plugged in a 2, that wouldn't work. If you plugged in a negative 2, that wouldn't work. If you plugged in a 1 or a negative 1 or a 0, they wouldn't work. So the point is, everything that is less than negative 3 works, and everything that is greater than 3 works. Which means negative 7, negative 6, negative 5, negative 4, and all those higher negatives, 4, 5, 6, 7, they all work. That's what works. So how do we write this? That's the question. We write this with a union. A union is kind of like a skip. So what we're getting at is why we did these intervals. You always go from low to high when you're talking about writing down this new notation with intervals. And what we're saying here is you're starting off at negative, and notice how, like we said, negative like a billion works. So you're going until you get to negative 3, and oh, stop, curvy bracket. All right, because negative 3 works, that's what this is right here. Less than, so curvy bracket. So everything less than, so everything less than, so curvy bracket right there at negative 3, but then we jump and we start up again at 3, which is what this is saying. We're starting at 3 and we're going everything up to infinity, which is 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 3, and we go the whole way up to infinity. So keep in mind, this is like a skip. What are we skipping over? We're skipping over all those numbers in the middle. We're skipping over like negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. We're skipping over the numbers that don't work. Okay? And think of it like a number line, like an arrow. This arrow is pointing this way. So all those negative numbers down that way. This arrow is pointing up this direction. So all those positive numbers that way. So basically we go with from negative billion, we'll just say, until we get to negative 3, and then we jump until we get to 3 and we go up to like positive billion. Okay? So remember, when you're writing intervals, to always write them from low to high. And that's just to say that those are the infinities. It's not including the middle. Intersection looks like that. Now I know you would say, oh, why don't they just put an I? I honestly don't know why they don't just put an I, but probably because I is used for complex numbers, so they don't want to get things too confused, so they just flip the U and put an intersection there. Intersection basically means what's in common, what's in between them, what overlaps between them. Okay, so looking at this, what we're saying is, what is the intersection between this interval and this interval? So what I've decided to do is write down the intervals for you. Okay, there's negative 3, and there's 3, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in between there where they overlap. What this is saying is that from negative 3 to infinity, you have a whole bunch of stuff. That's what this one is. From negative 3 on up. So negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. This one's saying that you have negative numbers the whole way up to 3. So look at the arrows. Where do the arrows overlap? They overlap in between, and we'll see here. That's what I have here. I have negative infinity to 3, so here's negative infinity the whole way up to 3. Here is negative 3 the whole way up to positive infinity. So what's overlapping? What do they both have in common? These two middle sections. The middle sections in between negative 3 and 3. And the reason why I don't have them inside is because, remember, curved brackets mean that they aren't included. It goes right up to that. It goes right up to 2.999999999, but it doesn't touch 3. It goes up to negative 2.999999 or negative 3.111111, and it doesn't touch it. Okay, so that's why I don't have 3 included in here. If it was a squared bracket, it wouldn't say that it includes that point. That's the difference between the two. But anyway, what we're saying is it's what overlaps. It's between these two areas. So to write the answer, I only want to write what's in the middle. So what's in between -3 and 3. And the reason why I kept the curvy brackets is because I had curvy brackets up here. It's what's in between -3 and 3. So there's your homework that you can get started on. Page 19 through 21, 4 through 38 even, 58 through 70 even. If you want to get started on that homework in the book work is online. So if you do not take your book home, please feel free to use your book online that we have for you. And if you have any other questions or concerns, just email me or bring them to my attention when you come in. Thank you.